안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Friday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon-soa in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-art, K-sports, K-everything. And before you know, you'll be booking your flight to Korea. Now, Friday means we have our co-host Bella Kim joining us in the studio. Hello, Bella. Happy Friday.
Hi, so happy Friday. And happy Friday to everyone joining us today on The Culture Wave. I'm Bella, here to co-host and fill you guys in with some exciting and rhythmical K-entertainment stories.
Rhythmical, right? Because we have everything from solo concerts to music festivals involving K-pop and even rock music.
That is correct. It's actually the perfect season to attend the music festivals, especially outdoor music festivals.
Those are the best. Well, Bella, why don't we just kick off with K-Enter News then?
Yes, of course.
So, you first got some updates on NCT member DOYOUNG's solo concert. Please fill us in.
Right. Yes, DOYOUNG is adding to his solo concerts after receiving an explosive response from the fans. The 2025 DOYOUNG concert, scheduled to be held at Jamsil Indoor Stadium in Seoul on June 14th and 15th, sold out both days just with fan club pre-sales. So the artist has decided to add another show on June 13th. The tickets for it will be available on May 12th for fan club pre-sales and May 13th for general sales. Since DOYOUNG's first solo concert at Kyung University Peace Hall in Seoul last year, he has been expanding the scale of his concerts every time. Meanwhile, DOYOUNG is set to release his second solo album on June 9th.
Well, one more chance for DOYOUNG fans to get their hands on these tickets. And for our next story, we're going to stay on the note of music, but as we hinted, it's about rock music. So we have a rock festival coming up.
That is correct. We are talking about the Incheon Pentaport Rock Festival. It has revealed the first names on this year's lineup that features a blend of legendary acts and rising stars from around the globe. First, the iconic Britpop band Pulp, the headlining the festival, and it's actually Pulp's first ever concert in Korea. The band that was formed in 1978 rose to prominence in the 90s with their hit songs like Babies and Common People, and they recently announced the release of their new album titled More in June, a first release in 24 years. Some Korean artists featured in the lineup are singer-songwriter Jang Gi-han, vocalist Song So-hee, and the band Hyeogu, who will actually team up with Taiwanese indie band Sunset Rollercoaster. The 2025 Incheon Pentaport Rock Festival will be held from August 1st to 3rd at Songdo Moonlight Festival Park in Incheon. And this year, the festival celebrates its 20th year anniversary. So about 60 domestic and international artists are expected to perform.
Looking forward to all of those stages, but it's especially very interesting to see Song So-hee in the lineup because we've been knowing her as a traditional folk singer here in Korea, but now she has turned into a contemporary music singer-songwriter. She kind of created her own genre. So very looking forward to that festival. Now, last but not least, we're going to move on to Netflix. It's always great to talk about Korean series being released on Netflix, but this time we're actually going to talk about a first. Why is that?
Right. Well, the first Korean original animated film on Netflix, Lost in Starlight, is set to be released on May 30th. The film, taking place in Seoul in the year 2050, depicts a romance between astronaut Nanyoung, who dreams of Mars exploration, and Jae, who has put aside his dream of becoming a magician. It's the work of the director Han Ji-won, who rose to prominence in the Korean animation scene as a pioneer after winning the Grand Award at the Seoul Indie Annie Fest with her debut work Kopi Ruak. Actors Kim Tae-ri and Hong Kyung lend their voices to Nanyoung and Jae respectively. And if you do want to catch this Korea's first ever original animated film on Netflix, make sure to check it out on May 30th.
Excited to see that. I mean, it's the first time that we're seeing a K-animation, original K-animation on Netflix. But Korean animation movies have already proven to be big abroad, such as The King of Kings, for instance, being really big in the US and other places. So I'm really excited to see this happening on Netflix now. Well, thank you very much, Bella, for those updates, and stick around.
Will do.
And now it's time to go over to our AI anchor, Ari, who has some exciting culture events to report on. Ari?
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. A variety of festivals and hands-on events for families will take place across Seoul, marking the 6-day Golden Holiday. At Seoul City Hall and Seoul Plaza, visitors can enjoy a celebration marking the first anniversary of the new design for the city's official mascot, Haechik, with magic shows, opera performances, and cheerleading among others. Over on Noodle Island in the Hanggang River, the eye-catching Seoul Circus Festival offers a unique experience. Seoul Grand Park will host various performances and interactive programs, and offer free admission for visitors under 13 and over 65 on Children's Day. Detailed information on holiday programs is available on the Seoul City website, seoul.go.kr, and the Seoul Culture portal, culture.seoul.go.kr. The city of Chuncheon in Gangwon-do Province has launched the Chuncheon Tour Pass to revamp local tourism and attract more family travelers. The pass is a QR-based digital ticket that offers access to major attractions, restaurants, and diverse experiences across the city. A 24-hour pass is available for 15,900 won and a 48-hour pass for 49,900 won. Purchases can be made through major online travel agencies. Chuncheon City plans to operate the pass program as a 6-month pilot through October, intending to expand it after a review. A special exhibition, Mana Mo Ana, Arts of the Great Ocean, Oceania, is now on display at the National Museum of Korea, offering an in-depth look at the rich cultures of the Oceania region, highlighting the history, art, and traditions that flourished across the vast Pacific Ocean. The exhibition features over 170 artifacts from the 18th to 20th centuries, along with 8 contemporary works. Divided into 4 thematic sections, the exhibition explores the region's distinctive cultural expressions through a range of objects, including centuries-old navigation techniques, canoe craftsmanship, ornaments, and sculptures from islands scattered across the Pacific. This marks Korea's first exhibition dedicated to the Oceania region, and will be on display until September 14th. That's all from me. Stay tuned to the Culture Wave.
Kyeomjae Jongseon is an artist of the 18th century who greatly impacted the history of art in Korea, leading the shift in art style to true landscape views of the Joseon Kingdom. It is one of his paintings that adorns the back of the 1,001 bill. Our Ian Jin gives us a glimpse into an exhibition where visitors can now see his representative works.
The scene of Inwangsan Mountain after rain. Considered a true landscape painting that used ink to show the rain-soaked mountainscape in 1751, the painting titled Inwang Jaesekdo is a masterpiece by Kyeomjae Jongseon, a painter of the late Joseon dynasty. He drew the piece at the age of 76. A winter landscape of Mount Kumgang. This painting, titled Kumgang-jeondo, is another one of Kyeomjae Jongseon's masterpieces, and it continues to receive the most praise among all his works. Each mountaintop is expressed as if to show an aerial view. He drew this piece at the age of 59.
On the top corner of the painting, there is a poem that says, "Looking at this painting is more pleasant than going to the actual Mount Kumgang." With it, the painting as a whole encompasses the desires of the people at the time who could not visit Mount Kumgang.
These 2 representative works of art by Kyeomjae Jongseon are not only considered by far the best among many landscape paintings of Korea, but are also designated as national treasures, numbers 216 and 217. Also, it is his Kumgang-jeondo painting that adorns the back of South Korea's 1001 bill. From the then prevailing imitation paintings of Chinese art, the arrival of Kyeomjae Jongseon's new style of painting left a lasting impact on Korean art. A new era was opened as Kyeomjae Jongseon established original true view paintings of Korea's mountains and streams, to which he visited himself while traveling.
Paintings started to portray our land and our lives, expressing the pride of living on Joseon land.
Now, the representative works of Gyeomjae have been gathered in one place on the largest scale ever. The two giants of ancient art exhibitors in Korea, Hoam and Kansong Art Museums, have collaborated to exhibit artwork from 18 institutions and private collections. This exhibition, titled The Sense of Beauty Within Bird and Flower Paintings, features hwajohwa, meaning flower and bird painting, which has become a prominent genre in Korean traditional art as it transitioned from the 16th to 19th centuries. But it also reveals things about Gyeomjae that we did not know, welcoming visitors to the Kansong Art Museum Daegu from April 30th through August 3rd. 이은진, Arirang News.
An exciting weekend is coming up for golf fans in Korea, with Live Golf coming to the country for the first time ever. For this and other updates in the world of sports, we are now joined by our sportscaster Jason Lee in the studio. Welcome, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hello.
So we are going to have the Live event coming up. Probably Bella is very excited about that.
Yeah.
But first, let's go to the LPGA. So Japan's Mao Saigo took the first LPGA major this year, but there was a pretty crazy finish because first off, it was an unprecedented five-way playoff, and that also involves the performance of Korea's Kim Hyo-joo, right?
Absolutely. If you might recall, previously I did mention that Kim Hyo-joo won the Ford Championship in Arizona at the end of March. That was the second win by a Korean on the LPGA Tour this year. And yeah, Kim Hyo-joo was trying to take an even bigger bite at the Chevron Championship in Texas. She was indeed one of 5 players who finished 7 under over the 4 rounds, so she would be involved with the playoff. However, she would par the first playoff hole on 18, while Mao Saigo, as you mentioned, birdied that hole to take the event. Now, Kim actually had the lowest score in the final round among the 5 players in the playoffs, so she came from behind on the last day in order to do so. And I will also note that among the 3 ladies who were tied for 6th place, 2 of them were Koreans as well. Former world number 1 Ko Jin-young as well as Ryu Hae-dan were both 2 strokes off the pace. And another Korean, Choi Hye-jin, was another stroke behind them in a tie for 9th place. So unfortunate that Kim Hyo-joo wasn't able to close out the deal, but still a very strong showing by the Korean ladies in this year's first major championship.
That great performance there.
And we're going to stick with golf now. Very exciting for golf fans in Korea, including myself. Live Golf, that's happening for the first time ever in Korea. Now, I want to hear, what do we need to actually know about this event? Please tell us about the festival event.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. First, let's go over what is Live Golf. I mean, what's all the fuss about? We've been hearing them in the news for a while now. It's basically a pro tour that made headlines a couple of years ago after poaching a lot of the top golfers from the PGA, and in doing so by using exorbitant amounts when it came to signing contracts, often in the hundreds of millions of dollars. So a lot of money, deep pockets that they do have. It was even rumored that Tiger Woods turned down $1 billion offer to make the switch from the PGA over to Live. So you could say that they have a lot of money, and he was asked to, I guess, defect to what a lot of people called the dark side, as they're sometimes called. But of course, Tiger Woods turned them down. He's still with the PGA. But yeah, a lot of news surrounding this big, rich organization.
Jason, could you maybe elaborate a little bit more about those dark sides or controversies?
Yeah, I mean, they've been in the story or in the news quite a bit. And see, they're backed by the Saudi Arabian government, or their oil money, you could say. So that's where the money is coming from. And they're trying to diversify their investments, basically. So the PGA obviously wasn't pleased about their growth as well as their threat as a competition from a business perspective. So obviously, a lot of, let's just say that Live Golf received a lot of negative press by both PGA players as well as some press members that are obviously loyal to the PGA. So that's probably where you're hearing most of the negative talk from. But, you know, they've grown and basically have a good chunk of the top 50 golfers in the world. And I would say every golf fan would probably know most of the 48 players that are in this year's tour. And even the casual sports fan, you're probably going to know a lot of the top guys in the tour because they really have spent a lot of money to grab some of these big names. And once again, these are golfers that were often receiving $200 to $300 million signing bonuses to make the switch. And let me just realistically say, you don't just pay that kind of money, $200 million, $300 million to no-name people. These are some of the biggest names in golf that have made their way over to Live.
Wow. Probably, it's sometimes probably difficult for these players to make those decisions.
Yeah, it's big money. And it's also like, you know, there's a lot of peer pressure as well, because some of the people like Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, that are loyal to the PGA, they're like, no, don't do that. You're just a sellout. You're doing it for the money, you know, that sort of thing. Well, at the same time, you have some of these golfers where they're making generational money for their children and grandchildren. So it's hard to, from their perspective to say, no, I want to take care of my family for generations.
Right.
It is a tough decision for the players. And now we want to talk about the actual event itself. I heard it's a bit different from the typical PGA tours. What's the difference?
Yeah, okay. In the end, I mean, golf is golf, but you're still playing 18 holes, and the best score in the end of the day, it wins. But is there a difference? Yes. Now, the biggest difference is that it's a shotgun start, and that means that everyone starts at the same time on different holes. So you could say that they're wasting less time because you're not waiting for the next group to start. Everyone is on each of the 18 different holes in groups of threes, and they're starting at the same time. So everyone should start and finish around the same time, whereas in PGA events, you know, everyone starts on the first hole and then they end on the 18th hole, and it takes a lot more time to get everyone through the course. So, you know, you could say that they're a little bit more efficient the way that they're going. The other big difference, or let's call it an addition, is that it's not just the 48 golfers competing individually. Each golfer is on a four-man team, and at the end of the year, there is extra money to be earned for teams as well, with the winning team splitting $16 million between the four people, so $4 million a team member if you're the winning team. And basically, they're just giving away a lot more money with the signing bonuses, the individual purses, as well as the bonus money for the team events as well. And I guess you could say that it's sort of like F1 racing, because you have each of the racers are trying to win the race, but you have team members as well. And if your teammate does well, then in terms of the overall standing for the sponsors, then they're going to, you know, be happy with it because you have a team winner at the end of the year as well.
Very interesting to see those differences.
Yeah.
Well, let's now move over to football. Now, this is not good news, actually. Son Heung-min is still unable to play due to his injury almost around 3 weeks ago. So what's the latest on his status at Tottenham Hotspurs?
Yeah, so this was actually gone a lot longer than I thought when I first heard about the injury. And Son Heung-min has indeed been out since April the 11th. That was from the Europa match against Frankfurt. So Son was ruled out for the first leg of the Europa semifinal against Boda Glimt. Hopefully he'll be ready for the second leg of that, which will come Friday on May the 8th, Korean time. Of course, Korea's next game for World Cup qualifying comes June the 5th against Iraq, as well as June 10th against Kuwait. So hopefully he'll be stay healthy by then. There was talk that he might have been able to play this morning, but he's still been kind of wishy-washy, and there have been different reports about how he's feeling right now. But for now, he was unable to play today, and hopefully in next week he'll be able to play.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, I think the important thing, because like I said, we obviously want him to play in June for the World Cup qualifiers,
right.
but the question becomes, how much will he play before that to get him up to game speed and game health? Because you don't want that to be your first game coming back from injury.
Right. Hopefully we can see him back on the field very soon. And now we're going to move on to baseball. Lee Jung-woo remains very hot for the San Francisco Giants. How is he doing in the MLBN?
Yeah, so I think a couple of weeks ago I said that he's pretty much leading the league among the league leaders in every offensive category, not in home runs, but batting average, he's up there. Slugging percentage, he's up there. I think he's second or third for doubles and runs. He's up there for all of these stat categories. But the one thing I did want to mention as well is this past week, he also made a great throw from center field as the opposing batter was trying to stretch a single into a double, and he gunned down the runner at second base to show that defensively he's doing well as well. And even a lot of the baseball channels and networks, if you watch them, they've been doing a lot of highlights of Lee Jung-woo and analyzing him and having like the baseball experts talk about him, saying what makes him so good. So not only is he being talked about in Korea, but some of the biggest baseball networks and media in North America, they're starting to take notice. And I think they're really, saying, hey, this guy's worth the money that the Giants have paid, and we'll see at the end of the year. Some people even predicted that he might be the batting champion and receive some MVP votes.
Right. And speaking of channels in North America, I think ESPN actually selected him as the outfielder of the month for the month of April. So it really looks like he's getting the spotlight over there. But now let's shift the spotlight onto domestic baseball. Kia's Kim Do-young has made his season debut after missing the first month with a thigh injury. So how has he been since his return? Yeah,
he actually did play the first game of the season. So it's not a season debut. However, he got injured in that first game. So it's sort of like his return after missing essentially the first month. He's played 6 games now, and he's hitting over 300. So he's back to what you would expect. He's already hit his first home run of the season. However, the one concern is he has not attempted any stolen bases as of yet. So the first game of the season, it was a hamstring injury that has sidelined him since. So he hasn't been running as of yet, and he's been playing DH as the designated hitter rather than third base a bit. So they are a little bit concerned. They're playing it cautious, but at the same time, he's contributing by hitting home runs, by getting hits, driving in runners. And I think even just for moral support, if you're a Kia Tigers fan, and certainly the players on the team, his manager, knowing that he's there in the dugout, in your lineup, dressed, you just have a little bit more confidence knowing that he's there. And he's been contributing, and Kia has certainly been doing much better since his return. So we'll see if they start shooting up the standings over the next couple of weeks.
All right. Thank you very much, Jason, for all of those updates, and have a great weekend and also a great beginning to the new month of May.
Look forward to it. You too.
Thank you. And thank you, Bella. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you back very soon.
Yes, I'll see you back very soon.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. Enjoy your weekend, maybe at some outdoor music festivities or sports events. And we'll be back on Wednesday after an extended weekend. See you then at 2 p.m. Korea time.